I'm from El Salvador. Came here in 1961. Grew up, in San Francisco, Daly City. After high school, in '69, when I was attending San Mateo College, is when the issue of Los Siete de la Raza happened, and that changed my life. They were my friends, and it happened in my house. And one of them was my brother. They were two officers. They were known for the 11 Mission 11. They were detectives, and they were always out here in the community. And they were known for good and bad cop. Okay, Brodnick and McGoran. Well, they were following one morning, some of my friends. They were following, and they came to my house, and they accused that they were moving some television. They came and they accused them that they were stealing it, and that's how the whole thing started. So prior to the Los Siete, I had already started going to San Mateo College, and right there, because my friends Mario and Tony recruited me, they were two of Los Siete. They recruited me to go to college. I had began to, in a sense, despertarme, to awaken. And they began to talk to me about consciousness, conscious in a sense of who I was, that I was, a Latino, a Salvadoreño, that I had a history, I haven't even forgotten about the Mayas, the Incas, that we had history, and that's what they began to, show to me, and that I began to feel proud again. In the 1960s here, of course, I came when I was 11 years old. There was just a lot of turmoil going on in the country. The whole issue of equality for women and for minorities, that was going on. And then you had a lot of the universities, students, fighting for third world studies, or classes that would teach them about their history, especially Afro-Americans, Asians and Latino and Indian Americans. And in '69, when Los Siete takes place, I began to dedicate myself and with a lot of friends to develop a defense fund and a defense case to free them, because they had been arrested, and they were going to be railroaded to probably the chamber, a gas chamber, because the accusation was pretty big, that they had murdered San Francisco policemen. And on those 7 days, the police went crazy, everywhere, and anybody that looked Latino, they would stop, okay? So that went on for 7 days. After they were caught in Santa Cruz, 6 of them were caught. The 7th was never caught, okay? And the 6 of them were booked and brought to San Francisco jail. It was at that time that a lot of us in the mission, activists and supporters, especially the supporters from the University of San Francisco State, came together, and we developed a defense group to free Los Siete. The first thing that happened, the Chronicle came out, and said with the headlines, 7 Latin hippie type kill a policeman. So right there, So the press right away condemned them. That was the beginning, okay? The Chronicle front page. That was the beginning of, not even a trial had started, and they were already condemned by the press. So that was big news. What we did, right, we developed, with a lot of the supporters, developed a campaign to educate people on what had happened. And that's what we did. When we developed the Los Siete Defense Committee, it was a group of activists, a group of us, that began to develop a newsletter, a newspaper, and in the process of 18 months, because that's how long they were in jail, we developed different programs, because at that time we believed that we needed to serve the people, that we needed to go where the people were. And it was in that process that we were able to get our message across. There was a two-front support, On the one side, we had some great attorneys, okay, a good team of attorneys, okay, and on the other side, we had a group of supporters that were out in the street, going to schools, having developed a newspaper, being in the community, consistently talking to people, and raising support when the trial started to come to the court and raise, that they should be free. So it was all built from bottom up, from the community, because if we wouldn't have done that, the press and the courts would have totally condemned them and sent them to prison. Their whole thing was, these 7 Latin type hippies killed a nice officer, Okay, and that was their whole argument, and they were going to prove that these guys did it, and our defense proved otherwise, that there was corruption in the police, that this one of these officers, the one that later on was accused of shooting the other cop, that he had notorious history of beating up people, of taking drugs. Even some of the family came out to speak against them because he had problems with alcohol, he had problems with violence. I mean, it showed that the police, had all this, good old boy practice, and that all came out in court. Little by little, it took 18 months of constant, I'm talking about constant every day, being out there in the community, going out to schools, going to colleges, and talking about Los Siete la Raza. That's how we developed, the support network. And when the trial started, we would have rallies. We would have rallies on Bryant Street in the police station and on the courts, outside. And we would rally, we would march all around, and we made a lot of noise. That's really what made it happen. And of course, the legal defense that was put together, it was just incredible, and that's also what made it happen. Well, after the trial, our organization, that was Los Siete la Raza, had developed some really grassroots in the mission, and we had opened up, two breakfast programs at two different churches. We had a clinic that we developed because during that time, San Francisco General Hospital went on strike, and we didn't feel that the people should suffer. So, with the progressive doctors and nurses, we opened, a clinic, and that clinic stayed around for a while. So our organization developed different programs in the process of 18 months because we believed that we needed to serve the people. We also opened a legal defense on 24th Street, where we got, attorneys that they would give free services for issues that were being injustice. So what we did was we would develop a network. Okay, when Los Siete come out, the community was very happy. All of us were, we were just excited that we got them out, and it was a whole celebration, and everybody was, really up, really happy, okay? But that only lasted for a while, because what happened was that some of them, they had already been from the street before, okay, and some of them, because I say some, went back to their old tricks, and the police grabbed them, and the police said, to the people, look, this is your heroes, okay? And our organization that we had developed, we right away we had to change. We changed our organization, and instead of being the Los Siete, the defense organization, we changed it to the Laborers Collective. But for a lot of the young people now, they don't have that history. They don't have that, what a lot of us had in the 60s, this whole turmoil of things. And people used to tell us, this happened in the 30s, and we didn't know we were going, really? But it did happen in the 30s. And it was in the 30s, was a whole movement in this country. They almost changed society here, okay? So we didn't know that, and it happened in the 60s again. And it's going to happen again, because people can only take it so much, but it will happen. So here we are in 2011, and having some of the worst situations that this country is going through. And what is the future? Okay, what is the future? Well, my thing is, I'm still optimistic, and I'm still positive that we, the people, are gonna do something, and we're beginning to do something. People are rallying around. I think that what happened in Wisconsin, it showed us that people are getting angry at what's going on. I really think the young people hold the future, and instead of destroying themselves, like, it's really sad. I live in Watsonville, in the area of Salinas, and it's really hard and sad to see young people killing each other. All these gangs, just taking over, and families are having a hard time surviving. So for me, I have to say to the young people is they have to have some real good hope, to also believe in themselves, and also they have to continue to find ways to, wake their conscience, either by getting involved, going to school, and more than anything, I think being open, to our ideas, that to change, that not to lock ourselves, because when we're young, we lock ourselves, I'm right, nobody else is, going to tell me what to do, and which is good and sometimes it's bad, because if you don't open yourself to new ideas, new ways, you're not gonna move forward.